LAINN and welcome to the LifeKraft podcast. LifeKraft is passionate about helping you live your everyday life better by sharing inspiration, awareness, and tools to enable you to create a fulfilling life. Do you naturally spend more money over the festive season just to have the January blues come the new year? Well, you're not alone. Many people experience more stress around the holidays when it comes to their finances. That's why I wanted to invite financial planner Adele Barnard on the podcast to give us practical advice so that this year and all the years to come, we can have a more financially savvy festive season. Adele shares advice on how to prioritize your expenses, ideas on how to cut the costs of some gifts, 3 things to focus on with your finances, and so much more. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, download this episode, and share your biggest takeaway with us in a positive review or on social media by tagging at the LifeKraft and at Adele.Barnard. Enjoy the episode. Adele, welcome back to the LifeKraft podcast. You are our favorite financial planner to have on here, and I'm so happy to have you here today to help us have the most financially savvy festive season. So thank you for being here.
Melissa, thank you so much for having me. It's always the best time with you. I'm very excited to share some valuable tips today, and it's especially my favorite time of the year, so yay.
I know that this can be a time where we spend way too much money, where we feel the financial burden on us, where a lot of people feel less than because they don't have enough finances to do all the things and to go to all the places and all the parties. And sometimes we can get into debt, we can get into a really bad situation over these 2 months that set us back for the coming year. So this episode, I'd like us to look at a couple of things that might trip people up, that might have people making wrong decisions, and so that we can guide them to make the best decisions for their finances in December so that they have a good January and a good start to the year.
I love that. And the thing is, it's so easy. I love how you phrase it, to trip up, because that's literally what happens. Because, I mean, the retailers start earlier every year. I mean, October, we've seen the festive this season lightning and gifts, and it's red and green and gold everywhere. And it's so easy to get just swooped up into everything. I know, I'm a big fan. And once the festive season is in full swing, and like you said, like we're socializing more, and you know we've got a massive desire to. So then it's very easy, if you're not careful, that things can go a bit haywire with your finances. And I mean, there's so many things happening. It's Christmas, maybe there's birthdays in between. Wedding season is also back, which is also a big expense. If you're a guest or you getting married, it depends. So I think for us, the main thing today is I want to share tips so that you don't have, or that you're not a victim to any holiday stress, and that we can also ease into January. So the main thing is, and what you mentioned earlier, I think it is important to prioritize. So the biggest tip I can share, or that I assist my clients with as well, is we know Janu-worry is like a whole year in itself, right? That 31 days in Jan. So I'm always and the other thing is, in December, most people also get their salaries earlier. And maybe you get a bonus, a 13th check, or however. So it's so important to just set aside your expenses, so your debit orders, put that aside for December so it can go off, or your January money as well. Even if you put it in a separate account, let's make it practical so that you don't touch it. Because you need to put that money aside, especially I'm thinking of individuals with children. It's back to school. That's a lot of expenses as well. Just keep it aside in a separate account so that you know you're covered for it. Because the problem is, Melissa, if we get swooped up, right? So it's this social event and that thing, and we need an outfit, and it's entertainment, and we want to have dinner and drinks, and then it's very quickly, and you just swipe because you're feeling jolly, you're feeling festive, and it's I always refer to it as, you know, your future self wouldn't appreciate yourself so much then, and I think that's the main thing for me. And remember, money is a lot of psychology. It is more psychology than anything else. So at the end of the day, we need to tell ourselves, why do we do the things the way we do it? And we need to train our brains to do it that way. So the January tip's the biggest one for me. Then I think as well as we are starting to celebrate more, to make it practical with especially resist the urge to splurge. You don't want to have any financial strain on yourself. So if you're a big family, or make it practical, Secret Santa, I'm a big fan of that.
Yes, love it.
So that you don't have to buy everyone a gift. You draw names, and there's an app even, draw names. We do it in our family. I got the mail the other day. I was like, oh my word, is it this time of the year already? Where you set it a certain limit on the gift, the value of it, and you draw a name and you purchase, and everyone can put a wish list as well. And then you buy something purchase something for the person that they really need and want. I think that's the other thing, that we don't buy things that people don't like. This usefulness and this consumerism that we've got, we need to try and eliminate that.
How can we go about eliminating that? Because I know in my own life, I will justify a sale. I'm just going to come clean. I really and I calculate it, and I feel like the best mathematician / accountant, that it would have cost me 700 Rand, but now it's on sale for 650. That means I'm saving 50 Rand, but I don't really need this. So I'm actually just spending 650. I know the calculation,
yes,
and I get the psychology behind it, but there are so many sales and specials and discounted prices, and it's kind of that we've got into, Adele, just to be honest, it feels good to shop. It feels good to buy something.
That's why we're friends.
And I think it feels so good at the end of the year to have worked so hard and have gotten through all of this. This year was tough. 2021 was a doozy. We're all feeling it. And just to be able to buy something to give you that dopamine hit, how can we get that? How can we still be human, still live life, but not be irresponsible with our money in this time?
Melissa, I'm definitely the financial advisor that's got the more popular opinion with regards to this, because I believe if we work hard, we need to treat ourselves within a certain limit or extent, obviously. I'm a big fan of that. I feel work hard, play hard, reward yourself, because we also need to reward ourselves, right? Because that's the way we carry on. But we need to find out, as long as it's not a constant thing that we are doing, and definitely December, treat yourself. But I think what's also important, and in November when it was Black Friday and all the specials and the likes, I get that question a lot. Everyone's like, "Ooh, what did you buy?" and whatever. I'm like, yes, I shopped around. I checked, because we all know they inflate the prices and everything's on sale. It feels like it's constantly on sale, because it's a trap, right? They want to get us to shop and buy things. And for me, I was like, I didn't buy anything I didn't need. I literally bought household items, things like that we really, really need. And I felt I would have spent this money anyway, because it's stuff that I need. It's items I really need. It's not luxuries, it's necessities. And I saved. But talking about sales, it takes me back to when I was a youngster. So I always share the story. I thought my mom was so cruel over Christmas. She's like, yeah, you can get one item or whatever. And I was obviously very grateful. And she's like, the following day, we can go buy it. And I'm like, that defeats the purpose, right? Because it's Christmas today. I want all the gifts or the presents now. And since then, so I love a good sale. My mom taught me that. And she's like, why would you stick to one item if you can get so much more? But it's obviously things you need. I think that's the main thing. But the retailers are out there to get us. I mean, back in the day, the sales would have been in January. Now there are sales at random times just to get us back into the shops. I mean, the other day I wanted to go do grocery shopping at the local shop, and then, they had discount on these random items, and I also fell into the trap. And that's why either if you're not strong enough, stay out of the shops and shop online. If online, I know some of our friends and listeners that are listening, maybe have an add to cart problem, then you need to unsubscribe from those emailers too, please. You need to find a way that works for you. I think that's the best tip I always give. Find what works for you, and then literally train your brain to work accordingly.
I love that. And I know when I just started working, with my first little paycheck that I got, my mom said, every single month, buy yourself one thing with that paycheck. that is going to last you for a while.
Yeah.
Like say a really nice pair of good quality jeans or something for your house or something that'll make you feel that rush, that'll make you feel like I worked for this. I got this from the money that I worked for and I am proud of myself and thank God I made it through the month. But it's something that can give you use and value for months or years to come. And I always think that one thing, stick to say one thing.
Yeah.
One little thing that's not just domestos and jik and whatever you need in your house. That's a treat for you, but something that can actually make you feel good, but just one thing that you can get use out of for a while.
Absolutely. And that also comes down to we've all got so much stuff, right? So much clutter. So rather, I love how your mom shared with you. I think that's such a valuable tip as well, is rather buy quality over quantity. I think that's the other problem. We're trying to keep up with trends the entire time. That puts a lot of pressure on us, especially with our savings. Like, we won't save because we'll rather shop. So I'm a big believer or firm believer in quality over quantity. And something else I always encourage as well, if we're speaking of treating yourself, another way of treating yourself, even though it doesn't feel like it at the time, is to, and I encourage this with Christmas as well for parents. And I'm like, you don't always have to give a physical gift. You can buy unit trust or shares for your child, or do that for yourself. I know that's the financial planner in me coming through. And it's not nice because it's obviously not tangible. So it's not something you can see now. But once you download the apps or you get your statements and you see, there was some returns, and you're like, this made sense. So I'm just going to bring that in there.
I love that. And it's funny because I started investing later in my life because I didn't have someone teach me these things. And I just literally kept my money in the bank, in a savings account. I tried that, but it's the worst thing to do. Rather invest. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, am I going to buy that bottle of wine for date night, or am I going to take that money and invest it? And then I'm like, put it over. And it's so easy these days because it's just an app. You can just literally just put it over, and then you see the returns and you're like, okay, am I going to have my nails done, or is it going to be Melissa's beauty salon for a while? And put that money over and into that investment so that you can grow wealth, not just have money. And it's such a different mindset. So start that. I love that. Treat yourself with an investment, with shares, something like that for December, and see it as a treat, and it'll become this obsession where you're checking the things and you're seeing your returns, and it's quite a vibe.
Melissa, you dropping the nuggets right now. One of the biggest things we can save on, and this is an unpopular opinion, I know, is if you're doing dinner, like you said now, date night, and you don't do alcohol, that cuts the bill massively. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but that's just another tip. Who are going out or stick to one drink or however. And I love how you phrased it with Melissa's salon as well. I love that one. Because especially, we always think, and that actually brings us to our next point, or what I also want to raise is, we always say, I'm going to start investing once I've got money, or I don't, if we, like in your industry, if people have to change their shopping list out over people, I'm sure people say, no, I can't now, or I get that people are like, no, I can't, there's no extra money for this and that and whatever. And I'm like, no. Check your bank statements. Let's scan them and scrutinize them. The money is there. It just needs to go into the right channels. And so I love how you said that, like, instead of getting your nails done, you'll do Melissa's salon. You're saving the money. You can invest that money. And that ties down to living within or below your means. And it's a term, we often hear so often, but I think so often we don't really understand what it means really. No pun intended. Yes. Well, pun intended actually. Is the fact that, so living below your means is, if I earn X amount, I must not spend every single cent or even above that, right? Because then you don't live within or below your means.
So above that is using credit, Right.
Credit to supplement your lifestyle, yes.
It's what you make in a month, what you have in your account, and then above is credit. Overdrafts, credit cards, loans, all of those things.
Retail accounts, and the list goes on. I think so often we get caught in the trap. We start working the retailers and the banks and the credit or the credit facilities that gets provided to us. We don't understand. We sign up for these things. It sounds very glamorous, and we're all doing it because our peers and our friends, everyone's doing it. And at the end of the day, at a later stage, you're like, oh, this was nice. The free money, or the free, not free, but the things I could have purchased. But until you read the fine print, and you have to start paying back. And the problem is in South Africa, and that's what we really need to work on. And I think that's my ultimate life goal. Financial literacy is key, for every single individual. And it doesn't matter how much or how little the individual earns, the concept of money remains the same. Because something I always get is as well, if I earn more money, or if I this, then I'm like, the concept remains the same. If you earn more money, you're going to pay more tax, so your net effect is less. But obviously, I think it comes down to just getting the basics right. I read Parable of the Pipeline a couple of years ago. And in that, they've got two examples. So the one was, he was a basketball player, sportsman, earned millions of dollars, and he retired broke, basically. The other one example was a teacher. And now we can imagine the salary scales that differs between these two individuals. And the teacher was the one that retired wealthy. And why? Because she made use of compound interest. So she invested. Not only savings, like you mentioned, we don't save in the bank. We need to invest. Our money needs to make money, babies. Compound interest is your friend. So compound interest meaning your money is growing and it needs to keep up and outperform inflation to keep up with the purchasing power of the rand. And in that scenario, the teacher was the wealthier one just because she lived below her means and she invested her money. And that's the biggest tip I can share as well, is just to invest. Either invest in yourself with educating yourself, buying unit trust or shares or crypto, whatever the individual's into, and utilize that. So if you want to treat yourself, buy yourself some shares.
Yeah, we'll have to do a podcast episode about that, because investing is a game changer. And if you want to build wealth, you can't do that without investing. I know I read a book of a self-made millionaire, and he said he literally invests 70% of his monthly income. In the beginning, he did that, invested 70% and lived off of 30. And it was literally as if he did not have that 70%. He invested it in his business and shares and all of those things. So different, he diversified, but he only lived off of 30% of his income. And most of us are, I know, I've been there. You listen to that and you think, 30% of my income is nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And I get that, but just start small. Say 90%, invest 10. 80%, invest 10. Pay yourself first with that little bit, just to get into that habit, because you know, Adele, we are never going to do it when we get more money. That is a pipe dream.
Preach.
That when we get more money will not be the time you are going to change all of your habits. You start small where you are.
Just to reiterate that point, I mean, I think that's the crux of it. It's not about earning more or whatever. It's either getting good money habits or spending less. So there's always, like my good friend Nicolette Mashile says, like, either you eat less cake or you bake more cake. And to bake more cake, you invest, and the likes. And, the other day I saw on the social somewhere, they said, what does it take to just spend 10,000 Rand a year? And, because it comes down to a conversation now of like, oh, we don't have the money. We've got the money. We need to go find it, within our budgets and our spending plans. And it comes down to 10,000 Rand a year is 27 Rand 40 cents a day. Now, Melissa, if we go to the shop quickly, how quickly do we spend way more than that? Irrelevant if it's groceries or luxuries or whatever. So it's just a way of our thinking. It's our mindset we also need to change. And I think that is where it comes in. So we shouldn't look at talking about festive season spending habits now. Next year, it's Christmas again. And the entire year, if you look at the calendar, there's something for every month. January is back to school. February, Valentine's Day. March, I can't remember, I know it's International Women's Day, there's something for March probably. Then it becomes Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Then it's Spring Day again, or however. Sorry, I missed a couple of things in between. But every single month, there will always be something. So that can't stop us from saying, it's only Christmas I'm looking towards. That's why we constantly have to have a money mindset, master our money mindset, and be aware. The specials and the deals will always come. Black Friday will come again next year. Cyber Monday again next year. Christmas is coming again next year. It's a habit we need to train. And the more we know, the better we do, I always say. And that's why I have these conversations with your children as well. With yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, because children look at the examples that are set for them. And with spending habits. So yes, Christmas, we're sharing tips today, but it's such a universal theme. It carries on actually right throughout.
It really does. And I think one of the things that I love at this time of year is really to look at everything that you have. We so easily want to just consume more and buy more and have more. But you can go two ways. You can do what Gary Vee does, go through your house, see what you really don't use. What have you not used for the last 6 months to a year? Take all of that and go and sell it. Have a little yard sale, swap it out with friends instead of buying new things. Or, which I love, just give it away.
Yes.
Just go and give it away. Just go and bless someone at this time of year.
Yes.
Empty out a little bit before you consume more. So I know one of the books that I read said, if you want to go and buy a new item of clothing, you have to let go of one that you already have.
Beautiful.
One that you haven't worn. We all have that. As a little health coach, I'm just going to say, just please throw away those jeans that are too small. Come on. Just throw them away so that every time you step into your jeans, you feel good. But I know most women have those jeans, that dress that they will fit into one day, and then they'll be worthy. Just throw it away. You're worthy already. Go and buy yourself an awesome new jean, an awesome new dress. But there are those small things in every household that you can really just let go of at this time of year.
Melissa, on that note, last year in lockdown, when hard lockdown, I got bored because I used to travel a lot and now I was at home and worked from home. So I had so much time. I started watching TV again. I did a cleanup and I sold all my old jeans that were too small. After many years that gathered dust, and I just did a bundle deal and I sold them, and my little side hustle. And what you're sharing with us now, it also comes back to a couple of weeks ago, I did a presentation like for young moms and the likes, and we spoke about how to explain money to children, and that took me back, right? Because when I was a youngster, I always wanted to work at the bank, and my parents were like, why do you want to work at the bank? And I'm like, because all the money is that I love money since I was a child, so checks out that I'm doing what I'm doing probably. And my parents are like, no. Then they explained to me like the bank is just a like intermediary, like, you know, the bank doesn't actually give you the money, you need to work and then the money goes to the bank. I'm like, okay, cool, got it. And it took me back to the concept, and it also ties in with our festive season tips, planning for the new year. We often forget as adults, we forget the basics, right? And you just touched on it now. There are hypothetically, there's an amazing savings jar app now for the kids, but it comes down to 3 categories or 3 pillars or however it's spend, save, and share. Sharing is donating, giving to charities, getting rid of stuff. Spend is obviously the items that we need, or like you said, if we buy something new, get rid of the old thing. I love that one. I'm going to implement it now. I'm going to do it in December, my holiday now. I should. And save comes down to saving, but it falls under investing as part of that one, obviously. And just, I'm a financial planner, so there's a difference between saving and investing. But more about that in our future recordings, or we have discussed it before as well. And I think that's what it comes down to. And I think with that mindset, if we know, okay, it's the 3 S's, that's how we're going to go into December as well. Is I've got an X amount to spend. I've got an X amount that I need to save for my debit orders, because we need our debit orders to go through. We don't want a bad credit record. And I'm going to share. I'm going to buy gifts. I'm going to donate. I think that's the crux of our spending season habits.
Absolutely. And go out and do it. And I love that example that you gave, 27 Rand 40. If you save that every single day and you invest that for an entire year, please let us know by next year, December 2022, how your investment portfolio looks with 27 Rand 40 saved every single day. You're not even going to miss it. And it's going to be so powerful. I'm going to do it. I'm literally going to do that. 27 Rand 40. It's on my little whiteboard. That was just the tip of the day. Gonna do it.
Yay! Okay, challenge accepted, you and I both. Over and above our existing things we've got. Let's do that. I love that. I love it. And now, Melissa, you know what's amazing about this? Now, it's like a budget buddy or accountability partner.
Yeah.
I mean, both our industries or businesses, we are accountability partners for our clients. And once again, with this conversation, we're accountability partners. I love that.
Yes.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. I look forward to our awesome investment portfolio growing by 2022. But Adele, thank you so much. Where can people find out more about you, reach you, perhaps pick up one of your offers that you have available for them at this time of year, just so that if they want to take it a step further, they can put more action towards it than just listening to this episode?
Oh, I would appreciate that. Please get in touch with me. Please don't be shy. We need to normalize money conversations. I'm all about that. And Melissa, thanks so much for the opportunity. So everyone can reach me. I'm Adele Barnard, financial planner. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Adele, and I mean, thanks to Adele the singer, my name is very easy now for everyone to remember. And then I've got a very famous surname, luckily, as well. So it's easy to remember. On LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram as well, Adele.Barnard. Facebook, and I've got Linktree as well. But I didn't know I can do this until my hairdresser told me. She's like, have you Googled yourself? I was like, no, why would I do that? Adele Barnard, just put it in Google, you'll find me on there as well.
Awesome.
And then people will also see where I've been featured and what I've done. And the likes. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And we'll share all of the details in the description below. But go and have a financially savvy festive season, guys. You have the capability. Come back to this. See this as a little resource. When you feel yourself wobbling, listen to this episode again. And just really remember what Adele said. It's all about the mindset. It's all about the mindset. You can have a financially savvy life if you start thinking like a financial planner, thinking like Adele. So go and follow her, consume all of her content, spend time around her so that you can see how she thinks. That's going to translate into action for you. Adele, thank you so much. I hope you have the best holiday season, honey.
Looking forward. I am ready for Christmas or December. It's been a year, hey? 2021 was wild. We're grateful, we keep moving, and thanks for having me, and have a Merry Christmas to yourself, your family, and everyone that is listening to the podcast, and a prosperous 2022.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode and taking the time to invest in yourself and in your future. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with us by leaving a positive review or tagging us in a post or in your stories. Share one thing that stood out or inspired you to live your everyday life better. This helps us create more meaningful episodes for you to enjoy. If you're not already following us on social media, be sure to follow @LifeKraft for more inspiration and tools to help you live your most powerful life. And remember, you always have the power to craft a better life for yourself, and we are here to help you do just that. We'll connect again in the next episode, and until then, keep creating a life that you're excited to wake up to. We enjoy bringing you interviews from experts and everyday people so that they can talk about their experiences and share information, tips, and what has worked for them on their journey towards a better life. However, remember that the opinions or advice of our guests and myself, the host, should not be taken as personal, actionable advice and is given as general information and education only. Please always remember to consult a qualified professional before implementing any medical, financial, legal, or other advice that you believe might work for you. LifeKraft is not responsible nor liable for your decision when implementing anything you hear on the podcast. Please listen and act responsibly. The opinions of our guests do not represent the opinions or views of LifeKraft or Melissa LAINN personally and are meant as information and general education only. Education only. Education only.